Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the DomainCast here on Game Domain. We are at DomainCast 16, I believe, and I'm here joined today by my co-host Aaron.
Yes, we have another great episode in store for you guys, bringing the best domain cast podcasts around, all that. So, straight to it, guys.
All right, and we're also here joined today by our second game developer here on the podcast. The first guy we had was Max Oakland. If you haven't seen that one, I highly recommend you check it out. Link in the description. We are here joined today by one of the lead devs for the game Bug Fables, Genow. What's up, man? How's it going?
It's pretty good. It's flu season, but
Ooh, man.
I'm already past the sneezing, so pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, dude. And you got to be careful with the flu season, especially nowadays with the whole corona out there. But glad to hear you're doing okay, man. Aaron, you want to start this off with one of your questions, buddy?
Yes, sir. First up, we'll be talking about Bug Fables today. Uh, Interesting new game that came out November 21st of 2019. It's basically a turn-based RPG. Gino, can you touch on how that kind of style of game was inspired to come about with Bugs Fable?
Well, RPGs are kind of like my go-to genre for what I would like to play and what I like to make. Um, I know people always jump on the Paper Mario like inspiration,
Yeah.
which is true, but it's kind of a bit of everything. It's just I just really enjoy getting into a new world, meeting a bunch of characters, doing a bunch of quests. So I think even before we knew what we were making, we were like, we're gonna make an RPG.
And
Yes.
clearly it turned out great. So
So, Gino, how long exactly did it take you to develop this entire game with your comrades in development?
Well, I say 4 years,
Ooh,
but
4.
yeah, but the first year, so I was still in college, right?
Yeah.
Um, the first year it was more like drawing on paint and kind of like not serious at all.
Just
No,
messing around, right? Getting some
yeah,
prototype
it's
ideas.
not a game we're gonna sell. It's just we just want to make. We're just trying new stuff. We were still learning how to code.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the the writing atrocious, the art made in paint, no music, free sounds.
Yeah.
Um,
The bare
w-
essentials, right? Yeah.
yeah, we uploaded that demo and it got torn apart, but some people wanted more. So if we erase that first year of paint, it's like 3 years really.
Now, throughout the 4 years, at any point, did you just want to say, you know what, screw this, I'm done developing for this game. It's a waste of my time, or were you always dedicated to continue the game with your fellow developers?
Um, I did want to quit at least 5 times, but it
Wow.
wasn't because waste of my time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Frustration.
I have a job and I'm still studying more. Like I just started my postgraduate. Sometimes the workload to finish on time, it got a bit much
right.
and I was very tired. Many months in development, like across the 3 years, there were points like when it was finals or I had to do a lot of stuff and then I also had to work on the game. I was like, oh my god, I don't want to do it. But thankfully nobody quit. So the game came out.
Nice. I think a lot of people, might make fun of people like us, like, oh, like it's not that hard doing editing or doing podcasts, putting stuff together or developing a video game, but it does take your mental toll on your mind. You got to be like, hey, is that level right? Hey, is this pixel right? All this type of stuff. And I think Gino too, you can probably attest to this. You probably run into a lot of issues too during the development cycle of your video game, right?
Yeah, and honestly, the parts that are hard are not even the parts people think are hard. Sometimes it's not even that it's difficult, it's just that it takes time. So the game came out in Japanese as well.
Oh wow,
And
I didn't know that one.
be- yeah, like when you open the game, you can play in English and Japanese and Spanish. And Japanese, we needed to code a bunch of stuff just for Japanese.
Right.
And every line in Japanese needs to be manually line broken or something. So like every single text box you see in Japanese I had to do like manually add the line where it would skip to the next
Hmm.
line. And I estimate that like at least an entire month of my lifespan is just adding Japanese text and testing
Wow,
and sending it over and recording and the Excel files for the translator. Like that stuff takes a bunch of time.
a
It's
lot of
not even hard.
patience needed for that too.
Right.
Oh
Dedication,
yeah, like
patience.
you start like seeing Japanese letters in the bathroom.
You start seeing them everywhere. You're like, hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? I see kanji on the walls.
Yeah, and I'm a massive weeb,
Hmm.
so I was like, oh, my game's in Japanese. But by the second week, I was like, I don't even want to watch anime anymore. I
You're
don't
like,
want
I
to
don't
see.
want to watch anything related to
It's
Japanese
Yeah,
not
stuff.
worth it.
yeah, I'm never going to Japan, man.
So, Gino, I know you said you released it in English, Spanish, and Japanese. Did you have to hire someone off the internet for the Japanese localization of the language of Bug Fables?
Um, yes, we did hire someone to do that. Also through our publisher. But I think it's worth it. Like sometimes you just have a goal. I always wanted to make like a JRPG and
Hmm.
actually see it in Japanese. So that's just kind of something that we decided to do.
Aaron, you want to go ahead with the next question, buddy?
Yeah, Geo, obviously, you touched a lot about the dedication that it took in developing this game. What would you say overall is your favorite aspect after you completed the designing and everything? What is your favorite aspect of the game?
Like after the game came out.
Yes.
Um, so I was very scared when the game came out because I'd written so much optional dialogue and I'd, like a bunch of optional stuff. And I was scared that people wouldn't find it or wouldn't care to look for it.
Right.
My favorite thing has been like the mountains of fan art. Like if you open the Bug Fables Twitter, it's just a bunch of retweeted fan art
Yeah, I
of
saw a little
like
bit of
the
that.
yeah, like obscure side characters and people making comics and stuff. Like it's my favorite part is that people actually like it. I think is because you never know until it's out, right? If
Of
people are gonna
course.
like it.
Yeah.
And, and like you said, you did a lot of the story work, and obviously the story is mostly what people are gravitating to. What would you say overall is your favorite part of, I guess, the storyline, the characters, that part of it?
My favorite part is Leaf's character arc, which is completely optional. It's like a ball of spoilers. No one can talk about it because just talking about it is a spoiler. We decided early on that he would have like this optional dungeon full of lore and stuff. It's basically like an extra chapter.
Okay.
And every time someone goes out of their way to complete it, they're always like, "Oh, my mind is blown! Oh my god, so good!" I really like making it as well.
Makes sense. I mean, again, it's more for people to do, and it's just another way for individual people to connect to the game. And I feel nowadays that's very important for someone to connect like that to especially these smaller games and take it with them almost, as you said, creating fan art, all that type of stuff.
Mhm.
Now, Gino, I know Bug Fables obviously the project we're talking about right now on the podcast. But for future stuff you want to do, is there anything in mind? Any new projects you want to do in the future? Any people you want to work with, or where do you go after Bug Fables?
Um, so we already like Moonsprout games. We already have like a few things in the draft. I'm not kidding. Like today, I sat down and I outlined like a whole plot for like possible game. I don't know if we're gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like from start to finish, I was like, oh, I really want to make this. And everyone in the team always has ideas. I don't know what we're gonna make yet, but we're definitely gonna make an RPG.
Now, are you going to stay with the same team that you used to develop Bug Fables, or maybe you think get some new people in, or how's that going to work?
I think it's gonna be a mix of both. Because it's gonna take some time to get to the point where we have to do assets,
Yeah.
and the type of assets we need is different. I All I know is I'm gonna work with Marcio. I'm hoping I can work with Tristan and FO again because the music, 10 out of 10. I just don't know if he's gonna be free by the time I ask him. I really hope he is though.
I hope he is too.
Yeah, he's pretty damn good. But if he, in the time it takes me to need music, if he gets like a really good gig, like he has to take it.
Now, in the pre-show, me and Gino were talking about the music that was being used for Bug Fables, and we also talked about a little bit of royalty-free music. Now, Gino, does Bug Fables use any royalty-free music, or is this all in-house music that was produced by you guys, by your team?
Uh, every music, sorry, every song in the game is custom made. We do have a few free sounds. I don't know which ones they are off the top of my head. I think the spring, like when you jump on a spring, I think that one's free. I can't list them off the top of my head, but the music is like 100% royalty free. No, fuck. The opposite. Like the opposite, like royalty expensive. I don't know what the name is. It's original. It's original.
Yes. And now, Gio, you said you had a bunch of side stuff. You were going to school. The game developing was almost a side thing. How do you look to almost push that forward and make it a full time thing? Do you want to
Mm.
do that? Is that the goal, or what's what's next on your career path of game designing, game development?
Well, even though I was doing work and studying at the same time, I wouldn't say either of them were the side. I think
Okay.
both of them were like the main thing. It's kind of hard. Like I don't know how to explain it. I want to advance my career, but
Hmm.
I also want to make games.
Yes,
For me, it's good to have a safety net. If one doesn't work out, you have the other.
of
Very good
course.
point. Very good point.
So, like, if the next game fails, hopefully not, I have a job. And if like for some reason I get laid off, the game's done good. I can wait a few months, so they kind of bounce off each other.
Makes sense. I think what fuels all of that is really the passion. It sounds like you have a great deal of passion in the game work that you do. How did that kind of grow and nurture to the point where it is now?
Well, I won't. I actually like my greatest advice for game developers is that passion runs out. You get tired, you get sick, you have stuff to do. Like passion helps at the start. What you need is a very consistent work ethic
Of
and
course.
understand that even if you really don't want to do it that day, it's your job. I did reach many points where I was absolutely like, fuck my life. But I kept going. And the passion comes and goes. Like some months you're working on an area of the game you really, it's not your favorite, but you have to do it because it's part of the game. And then you get to
Right.
a good part, it goes back up. When the game came out, I took like the trip I took before this podcast. I just needed to stop working for a bit to like recharge, and now I'm all passionate again. But before that, I was like a couch potato. Like I was so tired.
No, it definitely makes sense. You got to find that balance. You can't overwork yourself, to say the least. Now, your true like, when did you first like start feeling this passion for designing games? Did you just see a game that you liked, or did you start doing some research on the actual processes of game development? How did that all start?
So I was born with penguin feet, which means my feet were backwards.
Wow.
I couldn't walk till I was like 3. Um, so I couldn't do sports. I couldn't walk. My mother took me to this electronic store. I don't know how I remember because I was 3, and she bought me a Nintendo 64 and Yoshi's Story,
Okay.
and I played it for like 60 hours straight. I didn't finish it. I was horrible at the game, but I kept playing. My grandpa had a Super Nintendo. All my cousins had game consoles. I started asking to play when I learned how to talk properly. I was like, games, please, and it was just games. So I really don't know when it started. Like I've been as long as I've been alive. It's been kind of like what I've been doing.
That's great. That's great, man.
Gino, I
We-
know we were talking a bit about MS Paint, prototyping a little bit beforehand. I just wanted to ask you, and so the fans can know of Bug Fables. What programs exactly did you use in the development of the game? Like, what game engine? I guess is the biggest question here, and also what other programs did you use? Like Photoshop by any chance, or any like editing software for promo videos, or what's up with that?
So for the game, we did use Unity. Our current version is 2019, I think, or 2018. We had to upgrade because consoles it needs 2018, so
Mm-hmm.
we hopped onto that. Um, Marcio did the animations in GIMP, I think it was, or Photoshop. I think he switched between them. GIMP is free, so I recommend that one.
Yeah, I have it on my
I
laptop too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Tristan, I think he used a thing called Reaper. I actually have no idea. Sometimes he just sent me recordings like, "Hey, I was mashing on the piano and this came out." So yeah,
I've
I don't
never
know.
heard of Reaper actually. First time I heard about it.
Yeah, me neither. I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. I have no idea. I'll ask him. FO, also, I don't know what he did to edit. I know he told me like, "Hey, I went outside and stomped on all this stuff and I recorded it. Like, can you?" I personally I write in Notepad
Mm-hmm.
because it's fast and I can't stand like word like all the red lines and stuff. And I draw in Paint. Like I still draw in Paint. I bought Clip Studio Paint, but I still open regular Paint. It's
Good
just
old,
so smooth.
good old
Yeah,
paint.
good old Paint. Um, for trailers, we used Vegas Pro. It
Hey,
was on sale.
shout out to the Sony Vegas people out there, including me.
Yeah, thank you, Sony Vegas. Bug Fables is sponsored by Sony Vegas. You can get it now for 50. No, I'm just kidding. We got it when it was like $30, and I
Mm.
was like, I have to get this, and I bought it, and I used it for like almost every
It's
trailer.
definitely a very versatile piece of editing equipment
Yeah,
program. I think a lot of people use Vegas here on YouTube. I mean, I use Vegas. Aaron, have you used Vegas before?
I have not. I'm pretty unfamiliar with it. Honestly, a noob to say the least.
Hey,
yeah.
we got to get Aaron a Sony Vegas copy in here, folks.
We do.
Sony, if you're hearing me, well, Magix, since they own Sony Vegas now, shoot my boy Aaron a copy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Much appreciated
Um,
in advance.
yeah. Even though I own Sony Vegas, I did ask a friend to help me edit the trailer just in case,
Uh huh.
because like I storyboarded most of the trailer and recorded stuff, but I always want someone else to check it over. Um, Making trailers is hard, man.
Yeah, I don't doubt it that it is. You got to get like your story across and in such a little amount of time. Like you got to sell it to the person who's viewing it.
Yeah.
Now, Gino, is there any piece of equipment during development that you wish you had, or any programs that you wish you had during the development cycle?
Hmm. Well, not really. I think for what we did, because the game's pretty simple, I think we were fine. I've seen some fancy drawing tablets, like you draw on the tablet
Yeah.
instead of like using. I guess that would have helped. I don't think I need it, but it would have been pretty sweet.
Well, for the sequel, man, a drawing
Yeah.
tablet. There you go.
Is there a sequel in the works?
Um. So not to be morbid, but when I was making the game, I was like, if I die, there's not gonna be a sequel. I can't do this to people.
Damn.
So yeah, like the worst thing in the world is when you like a story and it gets canceled, right? Or it gets
Yeah.
put in hiatus and then never
Definitely.
again. Every story I write, I try to make it that it's self-contained.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Like
if we
anything.
make a sequel, not promising that we'll make a sequel. If we make a sequel, it'll be like the same world, but it'll be a new cast.
All right.
Because we kind of tied up all the loose ends already.
Hmm. You heard it first here on DomainCast.
There you
So
go. It's gonna be like
now,
a spin-off sequel.
Yeah. Um, so in my team, Marcio is the calm guy and I'm the panic guy. So that's kind of how it works. So he's chilling and working. I'm like, oh my god, if I die on the plane, please you have to contact the bank. And I write all the info before I get on the plane, that kind of stuff.
just take it easy. Take it easy. Don't worry about it,
It's
man.
just in case. Just in
just in
case.
case,
Yeah.
I get it, man. Anything can happen any day of the week. So we talked about a little pre-show about your upbringing. You're from Panama, still out in Panama. Can you speak on almost the game culture out there? Obviously, in America, it's catapulted significantly in the past few years. But what is the game culture like in Panama?
Well, I kind of studied abroad a lot, so
Okay.
I feel like a foreigner in my own country. They play a lot of FIFA and Street
Yeah,
Fighter.
I'm a FIFA fan, so
And they play on consoles a lot. Like PC gaming isn't that frequent because people don't have really good PCs, so
right.
it's better to play on PS4. So I think people are waiting on consoles to buy Bug Fables over here. Um, yeah, like the amount of FIFA. There's so much FIFA and Fortnite. It's the same as everywhere. There's this new bar that opened last year. It's like an esports bar,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
it's just people playing Fortnite all night. It's horrible. I
Every
mean, like
day, every night.
I want people to play StarCraft and stuff. I miss StarCraft.
Hey,
Something
StarCraft is
different.
good.
haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just me being a boomer or something. I'm 24, but I feel like a boomer.
24-year-old boomer. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, Gino, I'm looking here at platforms, and I see Nintendo Switch. You guys are on Nintendo Switch, right?
Not yet. So the official answer is as soon as we get a proper date, we'll update. Currently, can't really say until we
Mm.
know for sure.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
that's my official answer. Hopefully not too long now, but I can't really say more than that.
I
Same for
think
PS4.
I think this game would do really well on Nintendo Switch. Like, I think a lot of indie games launch on Nintendo Switch. Aaron, like, what do you think about that? Like having Bug Fables on the Nintendo Switch, having it on the go.
I mean, it's one of those things where certain games work better on certain platforms, and of course, we just touched on it a little bit with the Fortnite boom and all that. The more accessible a game, the easier it is to receive it. So I definitely think with everything that's come with Bug Fable that I've seen, it looked like it would be a hit on Switch, especially with the art and that type of style.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, like especially too, since I think a lot of people see the art style and they get flashbacks of a Nintendo game. You know, the Paper Mario games, right? So I think having this on Nintendo Switch would be a nice treat for Nintendo fans and everyone in general too. Okay, we have
Awkward
some,
silence. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, we
Sorry,
have
I
breaking news here. We have some incoming questions from a certain secret source we cannot divulge yet, but maybe in the future. We have a question for you, Gino. Are you ready to answer?
yep.
All right. What are your future plans for Moonsprout Games?
So officially, we want to get the game out on consoles as soon as possible. But it'll be like Bug Fables, like a year or two in the dark, making prototypes and stuff.
All right.
I don't know if we'll make like a Kickstarter again or something. I don't know if it looks bad to do two of them, but I hope that. So when we started making Bug Fables, we started showing off images of MS Paint doodles and super trashy, poorly coded prototype. Right. I hope that when we start showing new stuff, it'll be higher quality and people will be like, oh, they're going at it. They're
It's
going at it.
it's like
Yeah.
they've evolved. They're going at
Yeah.
it again.
So for now, Animal Crossing's coming out. It'll be a while, but we'll appear again eventually.
Eventually, right? There's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that as long as the perception of the game so far has been fairly positive, you would say, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you were to go back and kind of redesign it, or you could tell yourself something before you put the game out, what exactly would that be?
Mm, so there's a lot of cool stuff with it late in development, like some backer enemies, because people could pay in the Kickstarter to make a mini boss, and a lot of cool ideas were from those backers. If we had known at the start, we could have prepared for them. We had a lot of crashes because the fights were doing stuff they were not supposed to do at all. I really wish we could have planned for it from the start.
That's still
Shout outs to Game Boo and shout outs to the tragicomical for making your NPCs break my game repeatedly for many months.
I
Shout it
definitely
out.
think that that idea of having backers pay for final bosses is amazing. Where exactly did that come from? Was that just somebody in the team just saying, "Hey, we should do this," or was it always kind of like a goal when you guys started creating the game?
Oh no, like there's so much stuff that just we woke up one day. I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "No, because time's running out. We have to stay on budget. So I'm gonna go to college and I'll be back. Don't do anything." So I leave, and when I come back, it's like, "Hey, I did it while you were gone. So now you can't say no because I already did it." And I'm like, "Oh my god, why do you?" Oh, so that's pretty much my life for like 5 months.
Jeez.
Um, in spoilers, in chapter 6, there's an arcade, and basically every game in that like there's this game called Might Knight, which is like a full-on dungeon crawler with a termite knight and stuff. He did that in a weekend. He was like, "I want an arcade." I was like, "Don't do it," and he did it, and I couldn't stop him. Like that's the real challenge in Bug
Damn.
Fables. Marcio being like, "I'm gonna do it," and I can't do anything to stop it. Like the game's better because of that, but sometimes I was like so worried. You just make random stuff, it can break, right? And then on patch day, it would break, like immediately, like it would just break.
Gino, now, is there? I know this is like best case stuff right here. What would be one game company you would want to work for in a heartbeat? In this instant, right now, if they sent you a letter via the internet, email or a DM in Twitter, what company would you want to work for?
Atlas. Atlas. I
Atlas.
think I think that's the name. Atlas.
And why
Yeah,
why
like
Atlas? Like, tell us why. What brings you to them?
they're the RPG kings. I know people say Square Enix, but to me, it's Atlas. I've played so many Atlas RPGs in my life. I try to play all of them. I love how they write. I like how they balance. Like if I could be even a small part in making one of them, I would go, man. I would be like, the game's in hiatus. I'm going to work for Atlas for like 2 years. I'll be back. And I just,
That'd
Hey
be
man,
interesting. That'd be interesting.
put it out in the universe.
I mean, it's not gonna happen, right?
I
It's
mean,
like a
No, you
pipe dream.
never know.
you never
It's out
know,
in the
man.
universe now.
Never know.
Yeah, like if Atlas sends me a letter in Panama, like I'm flying over to California or wherever they have their USA office.
Hmm.
I'm going straight away.
I mean, hey, man, it could be possible. There's always a
Anything's
possibility.
possible.
Yeah, like I try to live. What's the word? I try to take it easy and I'll be like, oh, just waiting for the lottery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. You got to be realistic, especially in this game field where most of it is not reality. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more on the fantasy side. So I definitely get that. Now, you said Atlas is the king of RPGs now. How would you take what you're doing and get to that point of being the top of the top of, as far as RPGs? Do you think that's possible for you in your path?
Yeah, I think the key is patience. Atlas started just like us. They were making, small games on the Nintendo and having some success, some failure. The key is that they kept improving and they didn't give up. So I'm still pretty young. I'm only 24. Who knows? Maybe when I'm like 40, I'll be like Atlas Panama CEO. Who knows? Like it's just being humble and being able to accept what you did wrong and take notes and then don't do it again so you can just be better.
Trial and error, man. I get it. And like I said, it's out in the universe now, so it might be possible long term.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's right,
said it.
Aaron. That's right. It's out there. Um, Gino, any plans on visiting Japan at all? I mean, I know you're a little bit defensive about Japanese now ever since the whole the Japanese writing situation for your game, right? I know you're
Nah,
probably
I mean, it was kind of a meme, right? Like,
yeah.
I totally go to Japan. So I don't want to go to Japan until I know Japanese because I'd feel like a lost tourist. Like
I
they'd
feel
be
you.
silently,
Yeah.
silently judging my poor English. I definitely want to at least be able to read the street signs so I can really enjoy it. I like traveling. Culture is what makes people create beautiful stuff. You just live without seeing the rest of the world. You can't really put yourself out there. Like everywhere you go, there's so much cool stuff, and Japan is like full of cool stuff. They
Oh,
have like a giant
definitely.
Gundam statue, giant robot. I want to
Dude,
see.
did you know they're gonna actually make it move?
Really,
Yeah, it's gonna like walk apparently. I just saw an article about it the other day.
like the one they already have. They're gonna make a movie.
Yeah, they're gonna make it move apparently.
One step closer to making it shoot missiles
You
and stuff.
know, we just need a beam saber, a beam rifle,
Hmm.
and we're good to go. We're good to go.
And then we just need like an alien invasion so that we can actually use the Gundam.
Oh my god, Jesus.
It'd be worth it, right?
It
What
would. I think it
what
would.
some aliens if it means we get to pilot Gundams.
Gino, I think you have a very good point about Japan. There's just so much cool stuff, and I think Aaron can agree. Like a lot of stuff we like, our consoles, our animes, our in my case, cars, come from Japan, and it'd be cool to see where it all originated from. Also, we have a new question here for you, Gino, by RHM. Which game designer are you most inspired by?
That's I mean, so what happens is when you buy games, you don't really know who did what part, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard for me to answer. Like I have so many games I like, and I don't know who made the parts I really love. But yeah, like I'm drawing a blank here. I did hear about Iwata's stories of saving the development of multiple games just by actually having an education and coding properly. So mad respect to that guy for that. He definitely made me want to study harder in my programming classes.
All right. Well, there you go, everybody. There you had his response to which game designer he was inspired by. Um, I think it's a little difficult sometimes too, because like Gino says, you don't really know which part exactly what someone worked on totally on, and it's not just the designer that does the game. It's a whole huge team that does it. It's a combined team effort. So
Hmm.
yeah, there you go. Aaron, you want to add anything on to that?
I would just say I think we're kind of seeing a shift right now, whereas certain games, I think in the future we might start being a little bit more aware of who's developing the games. You look at like Death Stranding games along those caliber, where it's like these are put out by a lead icon in the gaming field, so it's
Yeah.
like everyone knows that. I think we'll almost see more of that, and maybe again potentially Gino already put it out in the universe. He's Panama CEO for Atlas, so maybe long term he just puts out a game under his name. You know what I mean? It's anything's possible. I think in the future of gaming and um, where we're headed with technology and all that. I love to see it, honestly.
I think you make a good point, Aaron. Obviously Hideo Kojima, right? I think everyone knows who that is. Also, I think to a lesser extent, if anyone here has played I think it's called the Indigo Prophecy, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, Detroit to Human, I believe is the name of that one. All games by David Cage.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah, that guy is starting to get more and more popular. I think with his games. They're
yeah,
more like interactive movies, I guess you could say, not really like games, but still, he's one of those developers that comes to mind too. Like you were saying, Aaron, like top lead developer type of guy that you know.
And
yeah. And
literally,
it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because his team is gigantic, but everything they don't like about the games, they trace it back to David Cage.
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
know what I mean?
So it
Yeah.
all goes back on the lead guy. He's gonna be the fall
Yeah,
guy on it.
it's
The
yeah, it's
face.
like that. It's like that Stranding. It's that gigantic team, and Kojima gets all the flack, and also all the praise, but all the flack. So I don't know if like it feels like the guy on the cover is gonna start being like the PR meat shield to like just get blasted on Twitter.
I think so too. I think you make a good point, Gino. Aaron, is there something you want to add? Ask Gino another question here.
I was just gonna lead us more on the point of, I guess, less away from games and more about where we are, I guess, in technology and civilization. Do you know? there's a lot of, obviously, more things have been, technology has been more accessible recently, and you kind of talked about it with PCs being a little bit more expensive and not everyone having a PC or not having access to that. What would you personally like to see as far as the future of gaming, the future of technology? Where do you think we're headed?
So, kind of a hot take. I think cell phones are gonna be the future eventually. Everyone has a cell phone. My issue is I feel people in phones are used to a type of game that's touch and go while you're on the bus.
Yeah,
Right.
I
small.
really hope eventually people can play console length games on their phone and just sit down and play on their phones, and people don't need to buy $600 consoles because phones get like stupid powerful with time. I think it's really gonna happen. There's a lot of education initiatives here that are like, okay, no one has a computer, but everyone has a phone, so let's
Right.
make education use phones and stuff like that.
And I
It's
mean,
what I think we're moving towards, at
definitely,
least.
definitely, I definitely agree. And you can also see like a shift of that with like some of the new VR and AR stuff that are kind of being implemented into the phones, where it's like, oh, your phone now has AR and it's close to getting VR type technology. So the the world is really in our phone. So it's like, how do we utilize that? How do we make the best of that? Do you have any
I run.
plans for any phone games, any cell phone type
Uh,
storylines?
so I know I said that, but I have absolutely no plans to make a phone game.
Whoa.
Nothing yet.
At least not right now.
Right.
Um, it like I want people to start making console games for the phone, but they're not doing it right now. So if I want to make making it for phone is not a good idea right now. I'll wait for the tides to shift, and then I'll be like, okay, now it's this, so let's give it a go.
You
You could
know,
also be the first person to do it. So
Nah.
there we go. Geno's gonna be
Nah.
on it. Get him on it,
Yeah,
baby.
being honest, like no need to take that risk right now.
okay,
You
okay.
know, I think one problem in particular that's kind of affected console gaming too comes from mobile gaming. The monetization practices from these games on mobile. Aaron, I'm sure you've seen those games where it's like, oh, you ran out of tokens, but you can buy five more for $10. Would you like to buy now? And I think a lot of developers out here aren't developing because they want to develop a game they want to play. They don't do that. They do it with a business set mentality. How am I going to profit off the players? How am I going to maximize my profits? How am I going to get the most money? How am I going to get more greedy and greedy by every passing day? I think that's a very big problem plaguing the
Yes.
uh, the mobile community. Gino, what do you think about that?
So it's just reality. It's games are something you get in because you're passionate. That's reality. But almost every job in the world is the same. You start cooking because you like cooking at home, or you really want to help people in hospitals. Like everything is
Mm-hmm.
passion, right? It's not just games. Every single job in the world, you kind of have this level of I want to do this, and you have to pay the bills. The reason we made Bug Fables is because we knew it would break even. It's 4 years of hard work. You have to say, hey, this is something we can afford to do. There's no point in making a good game if you starve. But the tides are shifting. Legends of Runeterra came out like a month ago. It's this card game by the League of Legends people, and they have like a hard spending cap every week, super free to play. I think people are getting tired of the whole squeeze me out for 5 tokens thing,
Yeah,
and Europe is completely like dunking on loot boxes. And if like developers are gonna be like, okay, I don't want to fight with Europe, so I'll shift so that I don't have to fight when I'm in Europe. Like that's what I think.
I think.
Um,
Oh, go ahead, man.
yeah, I don't judge any developer that makes their game like profit. Like at the end of the day, they probably do enjoy the game they make at some extent. Otherwise, they wouldn't have the willpower to work on it for 2 years.
I
It's
think.
just reality, right?
Yeah, I think also a problem is that We might be seeing all these companies putting in all these like microtransactions and stuff, right? Loot boxes, like you brought up earlier, Gino. But you know, I think probably the devs aren't getting any of that money. It's probably going to the CEO or something, people who are higher up in the ladder. I think maybe the devs are getting the crappier deal when it comes to all this, when it comes to the whole monetization practices, and it's only really affecting the big honchos, the people who get like the big bonuses, right?
It really depends. Like, I mean, in general, if you're a CEO and you're investing, you're paying the developers for like 2 years before the game comes out, and then you're just kind of banking on it hitting off. And the devs are having like a stable salary while they make it. It's really complicated. Like Bug Fables, right? It took like 3 years. You still like everyone still got paid while we made it. And then when it comes out, like if I made the big bucks as CEO, I still paid everyone while it was getting made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, there's one of the key points of Bug Fables is the art. That's what stands out to most people. Um, do you think the art style was influenced from anywhere specifically, or did it just all organically come about?
So we definitely went Paper Mario to like spin the paper stuff. But in general, we had this really big challenge where so they're bugs and they have like 6 arms and stuff. And originally, uh, we tried to give them like 6 arms, and it looked terrible. It was really creepy to have this little uh, thing with 6 arms looking at you. So early on, we were like, okay, everyone's just gonna have 2 feet and 2 arms, like normal people. We were also not sure like how anatomically correct to do stuff. We used to have like some designs that we like looked at the Wikipedia page for bugs and tried to be super close, and it didn't feel right. Um, I don't know how many iterations it was because it was like 3 years ago. But I think when we decided that it was fine to not make them exactly bugs and just take some liberties, it started coming together.
And really, that it sounds like a lot of trial and error went into the game. And obviously, that's a part of life. Really, just that trial and error, just testing stuff. What were kind of some of the most important and crucial parts of the game that you ended up testing, I guess, and just that worked out? I guess you touched on some of the story elements and like the optional parts, but what are some of the, I guess, mechanics that worked out for the better or graphical things?
So there was a timeline in this world. There was this timeline where Bug Fables was a game where your party kept getting split up every 5 minutes, and you had Metal Gear Solid segments with like the bee because she could fly and no one else could, and 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 it felt so bad, like being alone all of a sudden for like half an hour. Early on, we were discussing this is a game about making friends and working together, but we kept splitting them up, and every time we did, it felt like garbage. So eventually, we stood up and we're like, this is not gonna happen. Like every single part of the game we planned out to be like separated, we just
Mm-hmm.
scrapped it because it was not working. Um, Also, you did mention aside from story, but the we did change stuff around for pacing because it was weird as hell because it's the first game I write, so I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So
First time
some
for
chat
everything.
yeah, some chapters switch order, and one chapter that was optional became mandatory. Like at one point half of the game was optional, and that made no sense. So we started like, yeah, I'm not
Just
even
an
kidding,
entire
like
part of
how,
the game. It's optional. Just like don't worry
yes,
about it.
like 7 chapters, and then the extra chapter, it used to be like 5 chapters and 3 optional chapters, and we were like, why are we doing this? Let's just tell the whole story in one go.
Yeah. I mean, might as well at that point.
Yeah, like why are we wasting all this effort? Like let's just make most of it, like just make people play the game we made. Like we kept
Definitely.
making stuff up, and we still have like 30 side quests that are like 50 side quests that are completely optional.
Hey, I like my side quests, so thank you.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's a world. You have to explore it, right?
Yeah, I think RPGs. I like to explore a little bit. Do a little bit of side quests, like hey, help this guy out. Hey, someone's daughter got kidnapped or something, or that evil mage
Mm.
over there. He's looking at me funny. I need some firepower to take him out, or some dumb stuff like that. I always like having side quests in a video game. Moving on from that, Gino, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but what type of technology do you use? Like, what system do you use? Do you use any game consoles? Do you primarily game on PC? Do you have a handheld system, or what did you use actually to make Bug Fables? A laptop, desktop setup, or what type of tech do you use, man?
So for fun, I have a Switch and I have a PS4. I have a 3DS, but that's old gen, so I don't really mention it. I made the whole game with this laptop. I don't have an actual like desktop because I move around a lot
Mm-hmm.
for work and stuff, so I always carry my laptop around. I have a phone. It used to be pretty garbage. Like it couldn't even run Pokemon Go. I
Damn.
got a new phone this year because it's been like 5 years, so I got a new phone. But I'm so used to not playing on the phone, I haven't downloaded anything at all. So maybe someday. The whole Bug Fables, I made it on the laptop, and this Wacom tablet I won on a raffle like 5 years ago still works. It's pretty good. Um, like Wacom. I don't know how to describe it. Um,
First time I hear about it.
my I'll fetch a link in a bit. Also, my keyboard's R key is completely broken. I
Oh
cannot
man.
type the R key. So right now I have a keyboard plugged in, and I work so much that I can't afford to leave the laptop 3 days fixing. So it's been like a month and I still haven't fixed it.
Damn. I feel you,
Yeah,
man. I feel you.
yeah. I'm really trying to make time. Um, yeah, like my PC deserves better, but I haven't been able to fix it.
I have a similar setup to you, Gino. Laptop only. Not really. Oh, that's a nice little thing right there. I just got the link for that.
Yeah,
Looks pretty dope. Um, Laptop as well, 3DS, Legend of Zelda Special Edition one, which in retrospect it wasn't worth waiting that long at Best Buy, but I digress. And a PS4. Uh, real quickly, Gino, what's your favorite game on PS4?
on PS4. Hmm. Persona 5. Yeah, easy answer, I think.
All right.
Also, because most of the other ones are multi-console. uh, yeah, Persona 5 was a trip. I wish I could play it again for the first time, without knowing what happens.
Yeah, it's always that experience when you do it for the first time with a game. It's like, ooh, what's gonna happen here? It's like, can't believe that happened, or like, really, did that really
Yeah.
just happen? A little bit of the magic is lost when you replay it, but you know, you still get the game.
Yeah.
It's
I
not the
think the
same.
only RPG I can replay without getting bored is like the Tales series because it has like action fights and I just raise the difficulty and it's not so bad. But the other RPGs, I'm just like, eh.
Now, Gina, we're 2020. What are you looking forward to coming out? What are you looking forward to playing? What is on your watch list, man?
So Final Fantasy VII comes out in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, like I'm gonna jump on that. I
For
actually
sure.
don't like. I've stopped looking at what games are coming out because I'm busy all the time. Sometimes Marcia's like, "Hey, this came out," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll buy it," and then I just put it on the shelf and I wait like 3 months to play it. Yeah, I don't know when this happened to me. I used to be such a gamer, and now this is my life now. Um,
Adult life,
uh,
man.
yeah, I'm trying. I'm making more time now. I haven't gotten used to not having to work on the game, so it feels really nice to be like, "Hey, it's Sunday and I don't have to work, so I'm just gonna play a game."
I get that, man. I get that. You definitely need the balance of work, play, all that vacation time, traveling to balance
Take
out
care
for
of
me.
yourself, guys. Take some
Self
naps.
care.
Take some naps, take your vitamins. Oh my
Not
gosh.
kidding. I'm not kidding. You'll improve your life so much. Just take 30 minutes at 5 p.m. You'll feel great. It's like you slept 20 hours. It's
Health
just
tips from Gino, everybody. Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind.
yeah, and don't drink energy drinks for the love of God. They're
Oh,
horrible. I tried one. I didn't even get addicted. I just did one. I was like, I'm gonna die if I do this every day.
there's just
Just dropped it.
so much crap they put in those energy drinks, man. It's
Yeah, just drink coffee like a normal person.
Aaron, you a Monster Energy fan by any chance, or no, not really?
I'll drink. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to work earlier today, so
Mm,
I had a little sip of a Red
a
Bull
Red Bull.
earlier.
All right, all right.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Colin
Gino's not.
Gino's over here attacking my life.
Yeah, yeah. Take care of yourself, man.
No, I'm normally man. I've been on a strict diet of oatmeal, spinach, and chicken. So
There you
this
go.
is a little break.
Some good leafy greens in there. Good for the diet.
Don't
I
forget.
yeah, I want a bowl of yogurt, two hamburgers, but also a little Caesar salad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I get you. We got a Wendy's right here.
Balance, man. I'm telling you, balance. You just throw a little greens in there, a little fruit, and you're all right. Some water. Don't forget the water too, people.
Yeah, and exercise. Uh,
Exercise.
yeah, I start exercising again. I'm like, oh, this is how it feels to be like a balanced human being who
All right,
eats well.
everybody. Now a word from our sponsor, Monster Energy Drinks.
Oh, oh,
No,
I'm sorry.
uh, moving on from our healthy lifestyle talks and our food talks, which would probably be on Food Domain if we had a Food Domain. Uh, I don't know. Maybe in the future you might see some Food Domain, but we have another question here from RHM Robo. Um, why did you choose the Unity engine over other options like Unreal Engine? Was that ever in your mind at some point in the development cycle, or was it always going to be a Unity engine game?
So this is embarrassing, but to use Unreal Engine, you need good computers, and everyone on our team has garbage computers.
I
We
mean, hey,
can't run Unreal.
there's
Yeah,
no
we
shame
can't.
in it.
We can't. I can't run Unreal on my laptop.
I
And
probably can't either, so.
yeah, like Marcel's PC is so bad. Like if he runs Bug Fables, it starts overheating. Like I actually don't know how we finished the game at this point,
Now
but
that is dedication, working with
yeah,
hardware like that.
yeah we chose Unity because we could use Unity. That was the main reason.
Yeah,
Um, for a proper reason to use Unity if you have money is it's very well documented. Like almost every problem you have has been solved by someone. It's really good when you're not sure why nothing's working.
lots of support too, I imagine, right, in the forums and stuff like that.
Yeah, like that's a big plus.
Also, I think the licensing might be cheaper on Unity, right, compared to like Unreal, where it's like I think it's like $1,000 or something.
Nah, they're both the same. They just start charging you when you make money, and it's not even when you make money. You have to make like $100,000.
Oh, it's a certain threshold you have to pass. Then
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're the same, but you
Yeah.
do have higher chances of getting into the Epic Store if you make it with Unreal, right?
Oh, there
So
you go. There you go. Favoritism at work here.
we're not gonna sell out to Epic Games. Full disclaimer. Don't worry, guys.
I will clap for Gino for not selling out. It's a worthy cause, everybody. It's a worthy cause. You got to step up for what's right.
I mean, if they offer me $1 million, I would probably.
There he goes. There, we just lost Gino.
He's right.
Yeah, sorry. Gotta be honest.
Gino, what if they offer you a deal and a Monster Energy sponsorship? Would you take it?
I mean, if I'm being serious, I wouldn't take it because we got crowdfunded and we promised Steam, and I wouldn't just tell the backers, "Sorry, guys, you have to buy the game again." Um, if it wasn't crowdfunded, maybe I would do it. You know, it's just you gotta have some integrity, but I don't know what I would do really.
Integrity and dedication from Gino. Love to see it, folks.
You hear that, kids? Stay away from Monster Energy. It ain't good for you. That ain't
Yeah,
good for you.
please.
Don't sell your soul.
All right. Well, it's around that time where we have to wrap up the podcast. Before we leave, Aaron, do you have any more questions for Gino? Anything you want to address?
I think we touched on a lot. Gino, thank you for coming on with us today.
Oh,
As AT will be
he got
back.
muted.
AT will be back. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Um, everybody, thank you for watching today's podcast. I believe, don't quote me on this since we do so many podcasts here on Game Domain. I believe this is Game Domain, the Domain Podcast number 16, I believe. So thank you all for watching and joining me today here, and with me, Aaron and Genow. My social, you can find me on YouTube at Super Mech Guy, Twitter at MechGuy1. Gino, where can they find you on your social medias? Your game, you want to shout it out?
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter at PaperBugThat. Like before we changed the game of the name, it was PaperBugs. Also, if you write, if you actually write bugfables.com, it just takes you straight to Steam. So that's
All
pretty
right.
cool. Yeah, and shout outs to the Discord server who kept me sane on the last 6 months of the game when I wanted to like quit. Uh,
They
they're
coming in clutch with the
yeah,
Discord
they're
saves.
such a good community. The community really is what made it worth it in the end. All the fan art, all the theories, all the good vibes. Yeah, thanks to them. It's really for them and thanks to them. So thank you guys, and thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. Aaron, where can they find you on your social medias, man?
Twitter is at RealATSwag and Instagram ATSwag. Just that. Much love, everybody listening, everybody tuned in. Again, Gino, thanks for coming on. I feel like we had a great conversation, not only about games, but and everything else involved in that. So, Leo, thanks for having me.
All right.
Game Domain forever.
No problem, no problem. Everybody, thank you for listening in, watching this podcast video, and we will catch you guys later. Peace out. Take it easy. Until next time.